Who am I? You sure you want to know? If somebody told you I was just your average, ordinary guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied. Truth is, it wasn't always like this. There was a time when life was a lot less complicated. Can I take your picture for the school paper?
Sure. In this lab, we have 15 genetically enhanced super spiders.
There's 14. One's missing.
Peter, are you all right?
I'm fine.
Pete, look, you're changing. I know I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Wow.
Peter, may I introduce my father, Norman Osborn?
Great honor to meet you, sir.
Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
What the hell is that?
Whatever it is, somebody has to stop it.
With great power comes great responsibility.
This is my gift.
Wow.
It is my curse.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong?
Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to Geekfest Rants. Today we have a commentary, a geek commentary. Joining me today is Steve Ravona. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, Carlos.
What movie are we dealing with today, Steve?
We are going to be talking about the original Spider-Man, which came out in 2002.
As opposed to the 1970s.
With Nicholas Hammond?
Yeah, that's not the original one, no? Okay.
The original theatrical Spider-Man.
I got it. Okay. We are using the Blu-ray version that currently is available for everyone, and we are going to start from the scene selection. This way you guys can queue up your movies. So everybody please go to your scene selections for the Spider-Man film. And once you get there, this is a little difficult one because you have actual pictures that show you the different scenes instead of numbers. Select the middle one, the one that actually says Spider-Man in blue. And when you have that one selected, hit enter now. And I'll give you a couple more visual cues. We are starting with the logo.
The Columbia logo.
The Columbia logo, correct. Hopefully you guys are all synced up. And this will lead to the marble. And we're in.
We're in. Okay. Well, to say this movie languished in development hell would be an understatement. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process, the hellish process that it took to get this movie to the screen while we watched the credits. Spider-Man was first optioned in 1985 or 86 by Cannon Films. The Schlockmeisters who gave us Delta Force and all the Chuck Norris movies, Superman 4, some of the Stallone movies like Cobra and Over the Top. They actually, not only did they make Superman 4, they made a live-action version of Captain America, which went straight to video. In that same deal, they optioned Spider-Man. And they were going to make it. They had taken out ads in the trades and Variety, and they had every intention of making this film as a low-budget B-movie kind of a thing.
Pre-CGI.
Yes, well before CGI. And the project, I mean, it got a director, it got a star. It just they didn't have the money to make a decent film with decent effects. So they partnered with Carelco, who at the time were doing very well with the Schwarzenegger movies and
Yep.
Terminator and all the Rambo films. And they got James Cameron.
His name, I do remember his name. Well, back when I used to read Starlog magazine, his name would pop up every now and then. And Schwarzenegger's name would pop up.
He was
as somebody involved in a possible movie.
Right. Schwarzenegger was going to be Dr. Octopus. And I remember you and I talking about it in college. I mean, when I worked in a library and I had access to Variety and the Hollywood Reporter, and that was where I got my info. So they had Spider-Man was going to go forward as a co-production, and it never got off the ground. Cameron wrote they called it a scriptment. It wasn't a script. It was like between a script and a treatment. And around 93, 94, they started selling the rights to help finance the film. So they sold like the home video rights to another. They sold the home video rights to, I believe, MGM. So a lot of people now were claiming the rights to.
But what did people do with the video rights? Make cartoons?
No. They when eventually a theatrical film would be made,
like in advance,
they would have the video rights.
Wow!
Because MGM had the video rights to a lot of Carelco films. They had the rights to Stargate and some other films. So again, it's languishing. It's not getting made, and. It just. Oh, by the way, we're in Queens now. This is Forest Hills, Queens. Maybe I'll come back to that in
let's start hitting some of the actual points that we are.
We have Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson.
Now, by the time we got to this film, who were the contenders for this role?
I don't, for the role of Spider-Man, I don't remember. I remember Freddie Prinze Jr. was named.
Wow.
But he was in the mix before Sam Raimi came aboard. And when Sam Raimi came aboard, I think he saw the Cider House Rules and he wanted Tobey Maguire.
I love Tobey Maguire in Pleasantville.
Yes. That was probably the first film I noticed him in as well.
Yeah.
And again, kind of similar to when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman. When I heard Maguire, I was like, really? But then I thought about it, and I've read the Spider-Man comic my whole life. He's not some jacked up Superman type guy with a huge physique. He's a slender guy,
kind of nerdy,
and kind of 5'5" and really Maguire fit the bill physically.
Now, what's interesting about this film also is that, and we mentioned it before in previous commentaries, the director is not a fly under the radar kind of director. He is practically a character in this film in terms of how he shoots it and how he decides to tell the story.
Right. We're talking about the immortal Sam Raimi, who a lot of us at Geekfest Rants are big fans of. And he lobbied to get this job. And based on his prior efforts, I'm shocked he got the job. He didn't. His films didn't. Even though he was a cult director, people loved him. He was still kind of underground. And the mainstream films he did were critically acclaimed, but they weren't box office hits.
Now, some of the other co-stars here, James Franco and William Dafoe, which to me they're perfect father and son. They look alike. They act alike.
Absolutely.
It was a perfect casting.
Yes, totally.
Franco, not a big star at this point. He's probably coming off of Geeks and Freaks or something.
Yes.
Off of TV work. Yes. He's not the big movie star he is today.
Mm-hmm. Dafoe, he's a chameleon. He can do anything.
Yeah. Dafoe's got a lot under his belt.
Yes.
Because
at this point, yeah.
And in his career, he seems to he peaks and then he disappears. Then he peaks again and he disappears.
But you know what? He'll do anything that intrigues him. He'll do a blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
He'll do a cult film. He'll do
bizarre, weird films.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's one film, the Antichrist.
Antichrist. Yeah, weird. Really weird.
Just seriously bizarre. This is a guy who played Jesus.
No kidding.
I think my first memory of him is Platoon.
Yeah, Platoon.
Phenomenal.
Actually,
Platoon.
No. Wasn't he in To Live and Die in L.A.?
Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah, freaking. So this is an origin story.
This is an origin story, and they come pretty close to the origin of the comic. I mean, it's obviously modernized, but it's It's following the comic pretty well. You know, he's about to get bitten by a radioactive spider. Flash Thompson, I forget the actor's name, but the bully is behind Toby right there.
He looks familiar.
He's been in other films. I don't...
But he hasn't completely...
Yeah. But he was his nemesis in the comic, and he's that here. In the comic, though, he didn't meet Mary Jane or Harry until much later on. His first girlfriend was Gwen Stacy, who in the films they introduced in the third film.
Oh.
And in the reboot, she's his primary girlfriend.
Lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't all go to high school together.
Now, from what I understand, also the fact that it's in Queens, it's very accurate.
Yes,
he lives in
from
Queens,
Forest Hills. Absolutely, that's all true. And that's that prior they did all the exteriors in Queens, the neighborhood exterior, and the scene we just saw with the bus that was in Forest Hills.
It's funny how young these guys look now in this movie. And it's only 10 years old.
It's 10 years old. Now, I mean, it's funny. McGuire, he really bulked up to do this film, but they're not. There's just the way they're filming him, and
now they're before, right?
Yeah, the before. I mean, he's already done his. It's not like they filmed this like De Niro, 2 months before. Then they give him 6 months to bulk up, and then And in the comic, there was a romantic triangle between Harry and Peter and Mary Jane, which, of course, Peter won out. In the comic, Peter eventually married Mary Jane, but they rebooted that too, and they've never been married. And
now, we haven't yet gone crazy with the Raimi look yet. Right now, we're still looking at a standard film. You do see a little bit of... He likes to do close-ups and have the background kind of blurry, like out of focus, and it forces you to look at your foregrounds, which we're going to probably see in a few minutes. You'll see his signature in a few minutes.
But he doesn't go crazy with it. I mean, in films like Dark Man and Army of Darkness, and he goes crazy. But he's definitely toned himself down.
Right.
He used it pretty well in Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, well, that was more of a return to a classic style.
Return to his roots.
And when we did Quick and the Dead, it was on and off.
Yes.
You could tell he was definitely testing the waters of, can I do a straight film and then go nuts? Now, let me ask you something. As far as Marvel films go, how important was this film? Because it was definitely not the first of the modern superhero films, but it was important because it was Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you have the first X-Men has come out. The first X-Men came out in 2000, and no one thought that was going to be anything.
And that was a landmark film.
That was huge. And the minute that X-Men hit, this fast tracked.
Right.
They put this on the fast track, and they had gotten all the court stuff, which I'll get back to later on, squared away. And they put this on the fast track, and they got Raimi.
I love the fact that the spider has the pattern of his costume. That's cool.
And when this film was an enormous hit. It made over $400 million. This, more so, I think, than X-Men, opened the door for every other comic film that came after. And for me personally, as much as I enjoyed X-Men, I really wasn't a huge fan growing up. But growing up, Spider-Man was one of my two favorite superhero characters. So this movie was a joy for me.
This is cool. Also, they give us the background, a pretty heavy background for Osborn.
Yes, and he was in the comic. He was a millionaire industrialist. I've always been kind of on the fence about the Goblin's costume in the film, but when I think about the costume in the comic, it just doesn't translate. So I think that what they did in terms of making it sort of like body armor and that kind of thing. More militaristic. And then making Osborn, which this is also not in the comic, a fan of these crazy masks.
Masks, armor. And
so when he loses it, he uses one of the masks as his, for
Right, because the mask has nothing to do with his work.
right, or the uniform.
Right, it's not part of that.
And you can tell that he's giving a performance, and at least at this point, where he's just kind of barely holding on. He's ready to lose it.
Right, he's not. I mean, he's not your typical bad guy that becomes the bad guy as a result of something. He already had something bubbling underneath.
Yes, but when he takes the formula,
enhances his nuttiness.
Right, which is used later on in Captain America with the Red Skull, and that kind of thing.
Right. And you're supposed to kind of get a vibe of that from his relationship with his son.
Right.
They're super rich, but they're kind of distant from each other.
Yeah.
And now how important or how good or bad is it to have Christopher Robertson? Is it?
Cliff Robertson
as
Uncle Ben, and Rosemary Harris as Aunt May, who I think are both perfectly cast. And you have this role, the role of Uncle Ben, is so essential to the Spider-Man mythos. And again, Raimi just really shows his talent for casting. I never would have picked Cliff Robertson as Uncle Ben. I probably wouldn't have cast half these actors in these roles. But he saw something in him, and he just embodies this character from the comic. And the short time that he's here on screen, it really he really makes the most of his time, and you believe the relationship between Ben and Peter. He's a surrogate father to him. I should mention that Peter's parents are dead, and they are, they've taken care of him since he was a little boy. So
it's also, I guess it's a style also when you cast. You don't just cast an older looking actor. You cast an older looking actor who has some background, good work behind them.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the guy who was Charlie back in the in the 50s or the 60s?
68, yeah.
That was a huge movie for him.
That was a huge movie for him. I believe he won the Academy Award for it. And he was a successful leading man in his day who transitioned into a successful character actor.
Okay, now let me ask you something. Is this CGI or is this him?
I think it must be CGI.
Because back then CGI wasn't that good.
Ugh.
This isn't Benjamin Button time or more recently Captain America time.
Yeah, honestly,
he looks. Now, granted, it was a very quick shot we saw, so maybe they did a little trick on us. Yeah, you should have that hand looked at, buddy. I would definitely see a doctor if. This is definitely not part of puberty.
No. I think we're getting a little Raimi.
There's Raimi.
Yeah, we're getting a little Raimi.
He's losing it.
Yeah, we're getting a little Raimi.
It's like, meanwhile, back in Evil Dead.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so we got a little animated sequence here. Oh, here we go with Norman.
Which it's funny also because it gives Raimi an excuse. Not only does it give him an excuse to go crazy, but it gives you this pseudo comic bookish scene.
Yes. Now, I mean, Osborn here, he's your typical, he's not a madman, but he's arrogant. Right. He just thinks that, he's not going to be denied. He's not going to let anybody tell him what to do.
He works alone. He doesn't want to have a lot of people around him.
Right.
And he's going to try it on himself.
Try it on himself.
It's the typical, accelerate everything.
Right. Yeah. Same with Dr. Doom, Red Skull. And this guy here,
Slam.
This guy here, Mendel Strom is the character's name. He is also from the comic. He was his assistant in the comic.
That's a cool little line.
Yeah.
And in he goes.
I can't remember who else was considered for the Green Goblin, but I know Defoe was not. I don't believe he was the first choice.
Now it's funny also the set, green everywhere.
Yeah,
there's green letters. There's green floor. Yeah, everything's green.
That's
the liquid is green.
Liquid is green. Yeah.
And the smoke is green, of course, because he's the Green Goblin. Now, Are we to understand that he has no control of these two personalities that he will have?
Well, once, I mean, he's basically, it becomes an insane man trying to pretend that he's sane. He's really lost it after this, and he still has to function in polite society, and he has all these maniacal impulses that he has to keep under control, which he does, and that the goblin is his outlet for that.
Right.
But he really hasn't. He can't let himself go fully bonkers.
Now we don't see any physical big. I mean, it was just implied his muscles were growing or something, but we're not seeing a major physical change in him.
There we go with that line again.
And this is another reason why he's a good actor for this.
Yeah.
He's a very bony and veiny actor, and he can really turn that up to ugh.
But he really has that kind of controlled insanity about him. He can play any role.
I guess he doesn't need the glasses anymore.
No.
Yeah, they were definitely hiding him in the beginning, and I wish we could examine that shot very closely. How did they do the shot of him looking very skinny? This is normal him for the movie,
right? He's pretty jacked up here. You don't think that was CGI before? I mean, it looked pretty seamless.
I don't know. It was so quick. It might have been. It was just so fast, and they hit it so quickly.
Right.
Maybe that was part of the trick.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of soft focus also.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. But I mean, I know that until Benjamin Button came out, or they really didn't perfect that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. I wonder how many times he did that growing up.
What are the odds that the girl that you have a crush on
would live right
is
next
20 feet away from you and her bedroom's right there? That's how Tony climbs down the stairs.
Yes, that looks like Tony's house.
It looks like his house. If he could only do that little flip he just did.
And Tony's kind of veiny, and he's got that physique. We could put him in.
He could be in the next remake.
Yes. I don't know where exactly in Queens this is, but this is
now
Queens.
her father was in some of Raimi's films. I think I've seen him.
I didn't get a good look at him.
I think he was one of the thugs in Darkman.
Really?
Yeah. There's the 7 train, I think.
Yeah.
Or the J. Yeah, this was Astoria, I think.
Uh-huh.
He's supposed to live in Forest Hills, but I think they shot it in Astoria because that's right before the elevated train goes into Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
So that's Astoria, Long Island City. That's where where Tony lives.
Oh, okay.
Wow, the old license plates.
Yeah, look at that.
We're like, 3 license plates away from that?
We're back to orange. We're back to the 70s.
Yeah, that's like Queensboro Plaza, all that area.
Now we get his first taste of his powers. Now I don't know if you remember, Carlos, but when there was a real uprising or outcry, about the fact that his web shooters were organic, that they were part of his body.
There was a big debate at first. Which way were they going to go?
Yeah,
were they going to go mechanical or organic?
And it was Raimi who said that he just didn't think that he was that much of a scientific genius that he could come up with mechanical web shooters. That's
a good point.
That it should be, part of his genetic makeup now, like a real spider. But in the reboot, he has mechanical web shooters. I really don't care one way or the other.
I guess he's a lot smarter in the reboot.
Yeah.
Franco always reminded me of a James Dean lookalike.
Yes.
There are the masks in the back.
Yes. Franco, especially in the last 5 or so years, has proven himself to be a very daring actor. I mean, the guy he'll do anything. I mean, he'll do anything from a mainstream blockbuster like Planet of the Apes and the Spider-Man films to soap operas to indie films to TV guest appearances.
And I mentioned it in one of our previous podcasts that his big two roles that propelled them forward were probably Milk and 127
Yes,
Hours.
Absolutely. He's done a few good Funny or Die sketches too.
A lot, well, Pineapple Express and all
Yeah,
those other comedies he's done. Wow, look, it's the age before teeth whitening.
Yes.
Nowadays, you don't see one yellow tooth in all of Hollywood.
Right. Well, the Blu-rays are bringing out all the flaws.
Let's see if Toby did the whitening.
There we go.
He's magnetized. He's Magneto.
Yeah, now we're going to see the webbing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nasty.
Definitely have a doctor look at that. Uh-oh.
And he's going to hit Flash Thompson with the tray. There you go. I think what really got Raimi the role as director, he impressed the producers so much with his passion for the character. He was somebody who grew up loving the character, and he was somebody who really had a feel for the classic '60s version of the character and the villains, and they just loved his take on it, and they really took a big chance. Spider Sense. I was wondering how they would visualize his spider sense,
like a little Matrixy bullet time type of deal.
Right, which I think was interesting. Again, Raimi's got that great visual sense, and
a lot of CGI here.
Yeah.
Ooh. The guy's name is Flash.
Flash Thompson. It's a nickname.
The only Flash is Flash Gordon.
Well, listen. You know what? These characters, their names they came up with the names in the '60s. Okay, Peter Parker, Flash Thompson. You know, Bruce Banner, Reed Richards.
Didn't somebody say they all have to have the same letter for the first
Matt
and second?
Murdock.
I think Stan Lee might have said that.
Stan was just lazy.
I can do that.
Yeah, so can I. Tony might be able to do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, second helpings.
I thought he was on Easy Street, but
there
now
you go. Now he's getting the freaky look. She's like, I love him, but I hate him, but I love him.
But now he's so weird. Are you sure that's Astoria? Some of that looks like it could be Forest Hills.
It could be, but the train, that train,
Astoria?
I could have swore I heard people, especially, once again, Tony.
Yeah.
We're going to have to check with him that they were shooting in Astoria 10 years ago.
Now, to this point, when I had first seen the film, I had a good feeling about it.
Whoa.
But
freaky.
now, once we see this, him really discovering his powers, I really felt, just as someone who read the comic his whole life, I don't know, it was like I was overjoyed at this scene. It really, the thought that they could ever bring this character to life.
You got to have
so
those
perfectly.
camera moves.
Yeah.
The twisting of the camera helps it all.
Mm-hmm. And you just feel the excitement. You know, you feel this is kind of, some of the CGI here is a little dodgy.
It's a little dated now.
Yeah.
You could tell it's CGI.
Yeah.
And I remember when you see the film, when he's running around in costume,
Yeah.
you know it's CGI, but It works for the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, it's dated, but it's still okay. That was another thing with the reboot. They claimed that Mark Webb, who's directing the reboot, claimed that there was an over-reliance on CGI in the original trilogy, and that he is going to do a lot more practical stunts.
Physical.
Yeah.
No.
He's going to do it.
He shouldn't really do that too much, or else he won't have any when he needs it.
It seems like he's got an unlimited supply. I know where you're going with that.
Thank you. We try.
This is a family podcast.
This is definitely not Forest Hills. This is a very industrial-ish,
Yeah.
It does not look like Forest. Yeah, they went back and forth, I think.
Okay. Well, Queens better than I. I'm a Long Island boy. You're lucky I'm here in Jersey.
Oh. Yikes.
There you go.
Now, wouldn't he slide? Why would he be sliding down? Wouldn't he like
Well,
Velcroed
I guess
himself?
I guess he didn't. He didn't.
I like the fact they showed you the little things on his fingers
Yes.
that, like a spider, I guess.
Forgot the painting.
Dope.
Uncle Ben's gonna be pissed. Now, in the comic, that also was the case. Mary Jane came from an abusive family, and they didn't really delve into her family background much in the comic. And she certainly, well, her aunt lived next door to Peter and his aunt, and she would come over for visits. She did not live there.
Oh.
And she didn't become his girlfriend until Gwen Stacy, who was his original girlfriend, was killed by the Green Goblin. She was killed, and then she comforted him, and eventually she
So why would they go straight to her in this film?
I was wondering that myself. My only answer would be that at the time in the comic, she was his wife. I mean, she was the girlfriend that everybody knew. Gwen Stacy was killed in the early 70s. So... And I was even surprised that Raimi brought Gwen into the third film. She has a very thankless role in the third film, almost like as a sort of a romantic rival, but not that he's steady with Mary Jane. But in the reboot, there is no Mary Jane. It's just Gwen. And she wants to be an actress, which was true in the comic.
I think he also likes to play with colors a lot. I mean, look at the red stripe on her jacket goes with the hair. The green garage is reminding you of the Green Goblin's coming. There's a lot of things he plays with, I think.
I find their relationship very believable. I think they have a great chemistry together. I think they might have actually been involved in real life, but there's a very sweet quality about the relationship that they have.
It's funny because at the time, I remember I would always get him confused with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes, and Jake Gyllenhaal almost replaced him.
Right, that's right. When they were renegotiating, and then a little later, when the Lord of the Rings came out, Elijah Wood, another one of these young actors that are kind of interchangeable. But that's funny because he did. I remember his name being thrown around at around that time. Was it when they were making 3? Before 3 or before 2?
Well, right before 2, Maguire wanted to renegotiate his contract, and he was claiming that he had back injuries and all this other stuff, and so filming got a little delayed, and Maguire, I guess, thought he had a little bit more juice than he actually had, and they were like, "We'll just recast you," but they gave him a substantial raise for 2. But Gyllenhaal, I mean, he was, and that was upsetting to me because I wanted one actor in the role. I mean, you had 17 guys playing Batman. You know,
Batman was a joke. It was a revolving door.
Yeah, and the same with the Hulk. You know, so I wanted some continuity here with the character and the same actor. And I was very happy with Maguire as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man. And this is also sort of a convention of the character. He's never had money. He's always scraping the bottom of the barrel, and he thinks that he can impress the girl if he gets a hot car.
555. Remember, every phone number starts with 555.
Yes, it's a little Raimi touch. He's quite the artist, Mr. Maguire. Utility belt.
Now, in the comic book, anything about him designing a costume for other than being the superhero? Because he's designing a costume for this wrestling match.
Yeah,
that really has nothing to do with superhero.
He does design the costume in the comic. I'm trying to think if he designs it for the wrestling match only, or if he does it after. Look at that!
Wow! Forget photography. He should be an artist.
This guy, really, seriously,
should be making comic books.
Now, I don't want to get yelled at. I kind of I'm pretty sure that in the comic he did not wear
placement.
He didn't wear his full costume during the wrestling match.
But in the comic book, there was a wrestling.
There was a wrestling. This is all straight from the comic. And we see ads like that all the time. You know, you could survive 3 minutes in the ring and get money. I mean, that's not. I think that might have been something that happened in the '60s, where they would offer people to.
Who's going to clean up this mess?
The Daily Bugle.
Uh-oh.
Now you can tell he's starting to.
He's losing his.
He's losing his grip.
His marbles.
I wouldn't call it a split personality. He just gives in to the evil.
Now, what was Uncle Ben supposed to be? Like, was he an electrician or?
Oh, in the comic, he was just retired.
Oh, okay. Because here, it's like he just lost his job.
Yes. That is Raimi's car.
Oh, that's right.
He gets it in there. Now, this is also a very important scene. Uncle Ben is going to utter the famous phrase that all Spider-Man fans know.
Shirk your chores?
He's a shirker. I don't think so, Uncle Ben.
Well, every one of these movies has this scene.
That's true. But this is from the comic.
Where you're being given your marching orders.
Yeah. You're going to regret this.
This is going to haunt them for the next 2 movies.
Yes.
For at least 2 more movies.
I liked that Raimi kept using Cliff Robertson in cameos.
Flashbacks.
Dream sequences. Yeah. And in Spider-Man 2, the dream sequence, the car is in the dream sequence, and it's all foggy outside, but he uses it again. Now he's going to He's gonna go. We're gonna see the immortal Bruce Campbell and the late great Randy Macho Man Savage.
That's right.
As Bonesaw McGraw.
Not a steroid in that arm.
Nah. Now, I had the occasion to meet Bruce Campbell about a year before this came out, and he had already shot the scene, and he just couldn't wait to tell me that he was the one who gave Spider-Man his name, that he had the most important role in the film, and he gave Spider-Man his name. This is also my favorite Bruce Campbell cameo in all the Spider-Man films. Bruce has gained a lot of weight over the years.
Yeah, and
Burn Notice.
yeah. You probably will sustain.
There you go.
Jeez.
Look at that. Those veins. Here we go. There we go.
The
I'm
amazing
human
spider.
Look at that.
He looks like something out of Kick-Ass.
Yeah. I love how they lead you to think that he's going to have the costume and he's got this.
I don't think he's going to make it to the ring.
Now, just to finish quickly the story about the rights, they sold the rights. Golan and Carelco went under. They sold the rights to Sony, and Sony Columbia they were gonna do it, but MGM sued them and said they had the rights and they were gonna do Spider-Man. So at that moment, you had two movie studios claiming to have the rights, and they were gonna put their own films into production. But at the same time, Sony had the rights to do a competing James Bond film. And what ended up happening was they basically traded. They gave up, MGM gave up their claim to Spider-Man because they desperately needed Bond, because that was their only franchise.
Right.
And Sony said, okay, we won't do Bond, you give us Spider-Man. And that's how it finally all came to pass. Now this is great too, because he's doing the quips that Spider-Man is known for. I mean, he's embodying the persona really well.
Ow.
What I also like about this is that you can tell that that's Tobey Maguire. At least most of it.
Ooh. Oh, Jesus.
This is a great scene.
Oh. Kick-Ass wins.
So now you have him. He's really full of himself. He's kind of arrogant. Now he's going to do something he really regrets.
And this guy shows up again.
Yes.
In the memory sequences.
Now, what I didn't like is there was a lot about Spider-Man 3 that I didn't like, and they retconned the fact that they made the Sandman the killer of Uncle Ben and not this guy, and that's not how it was in the comic. That guy killed his uncle. And he let him go, just like the comic. And he's going to regret it for the rest of his life.
It's funny how much time we spend. Again, it's an origin story, but we're still establishing the origin. The bad guy really has not fully developed yet,
right?
And we're like almost an hour into the film.
Yeah, a lot of these these films, when the origin films, they don't really get into the serious action for at least an hour.
Which is also why it's so difficult a lot of times when you have a second film, because you don't have the origin fallback. You got to go right to the action.
Right, but you look at.
But this is developing the character.
You need it, but I mean, most people agree Spider-Man 2 was better than the first one. X-Men 2 better than the first one. Not so much Iron Man 2, but.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dark Knight. As great as Batman Begins was, most people agree Dark Knight is better. But you have to develop the character. You can't just.
I wonder if I can't really think of any film that goes straight to the action without giving you the origin.
Well, Batman Begins does it in a sort of a non-linear way, but you still don't see him in costume for at least an hour.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Same with the original Superman with Christopher Reeve. He doesn't put on the costume at least an hour into it.
Okay, we're in CGI mode.
Yeah, and this is pretty obvious CGI. But again, I don't think it's terrible. And I'm sure 10 years ago we thought it was amazing.
And a lot of it, like we said before, it is covered up by the camera moves. The camera moving,
it doesn't languish on.
Doesn't give you that guys walking up the side of a building thing. And it's night, so you can hide a lot at night.
Yeah,
that helps.
CGI at night is a good thing. And he's making his getaway in Uncle Ben's car. The simple fact is, even with all the legal fighting that was going on prior to this getting made, it couldn't have been made until the late 90s or early 2000s. I mean, you just couldn't visualize this effectively prior to this. I mean, that's why all the superhero movies, they didn't really hit until...
You could write it, but you can't shoot it.
Yeah, you can't shoot. That's why you'd only see Batman. Somebody who, you could really get away with. He doesn't have superpowers. Superman, you had to make sure he could fly, and they did that effectively in the late 70s. But
yeah, but it was so quickly dated, and nobody jumped on it right away to try to remake it in the late 80s or early 90s.
Right.
They were kind of like very scared of
the other I mean, you had the Superman films, then 10 years later you had the Batman films, and then nothing. You had these low-budget, crappy, The Punisher and the Captain America movie and Swamp Thing. I mean, you didn't have the first. We discussed this on a prior podcast. The first Marvel film, successful Marvel film, was Blade with Wesley Snipes.
But it was kind of under the radar.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, look, everybody, it's Marvel. No,
Right.
It's a vampire film.
It's a vampire film.
That happens to be Marvel.
Right. And everybody who knew the comics knew he was a Marvel character, but it was certainly not sold as a Marvel film or superhero film or any of that stuff. But that came out 2 years before X-Men.
But this is one of those films that I mean, it exists also in other genres where people always say, you know, we want to get it right. We wanted to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. They couldn't just half-ass it.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely not. Because, you know, the studio is looking at a potential franchise here, which is what they got. And by being very meticulous with who they chose as director, who was cast, I mean, this film was... X-Men might have made 150 some odd million. This movie made over 400 million. And also at this time, Marvel had licensed a number of characters to other studios because they didn't have the ability to make films on their own. So you had characters like Spider-Man, like X-Men, like the Fantastic Four being optioned to other studios. And consequently now, Marvel still doesn't have the rights to do those films on themselves, even though they're making their own films. Now, the burglar did not die in the comic. He died much, much later, but not in this first encounter. And the thing is, too, with the superhero films being as successful as they are now, these studios will never let their options lapse. Like 20th Century Fox has X-Men and Fantastic Four and Daredevil. Sony has Spider-Man. If they don't have films in production every few years, they lose the rights. So that's why you're seeing reboots, prequels. They know what a cash cow these characters are.
Right.
And they're not going to let them go back to Marvel. That happened with the Hulk. Universal had the Hulk. Even though Universal distributed the sequel, it was just a distribution deal. Marvel made the Hulk. So they gave up the rights to the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
But Marvel has the rights to Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. That's why the Hulk, that's why you're going to see an Avengers movie next year, because they can. But you can't see these other characters cross over because they're at different studios.
I guess that what they're doing is they're paralleling the superhero and the villain.
Mm-hmm.
They're markers in their development. And
Yes.
This is okay. He does something bad happens to this guy, something weird happens to that guy.
And it's all in how they deal with it.
Right. Granted, Osborn seems to have no control over himself.
Right, yeah, he's
a little somewhat of a victim. But
and that's also the thing about the villains in the Spider-Man films, especially. That you hit on something when you call them victims. Dr. Octopus really is not an evil man.
And at first,
he's a very sweet guy.
Just like him, like Osborn.
The Sandman is a guy who's driven to what he's driven to just because of his family problems.
Look at that, green.
Yeah, more green.
Cap and gowns, and the dissolve was a wipe to the again another Raimi touch.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to have weird wipes. He's got a slightly green tinge to his suit too. Talk about subtle.
And you can kind of see here how he prefers Peter over Harry.
And look at the look he's giving him over his shoulder.
Which is also going to kind of factor into things later on.
In the next film and so forth. The resentment. He's like, okay, you take my dad, I'll take your
I'll
girlfriend.
take your girlfriend. Yeah, absolutely. And in the comic, Harry and Mary Jane were involved prior to Peter and Mary Jane, but it was because Peter had Gwen.
Right.
It wasn't
There was
this.
nothing
You
there.
know. Yeah, great TV there.
They love to do this shot of the opening of the house and the little dining room, the
Giving
little dining room
you, giving
area.
you a sense of
And
how they live,
kind of cramps,
their
little
income
small.
level.
But like what I'm saying is that it's shot on purpose that way.
Mm-hmm.
Master shot. That's it. I can't give you anything more than a master shot. I can't
What
fit
else
the
is there
camera
to
crew.
get?
The camera crew cannot fit in this house. I can't knock down a wall to put a crew there.
Did I ever tell you that I took a tour of Sony Studios in 2001? I saw Tobey Maguire there, walking around the lot
While they were shooting
while
this?
they were shooting this. He had
2001. Well,
2001. They had he had a Starbucks in his
were
hand.
they finished? I guess they might have been
It
finished.
was like March of 2001.
Because this was summer, right?
This was summer 2002, and they started. They had been
Oh.
shooting it for about a month, and I was walking around the lot with my tour, and there he was, and he just kind of waved to us.
Wasn't there some controversy about showing the Twin Towers on the reflection of the eyepiece?
Well, the teaser, the original teaser, which is a scene that is shot completely for the teaser, not for the was never even intended for the finished film, has crooks robbing a bank, escaping in a helicopter, and Spider-Man webs them, captures them in a web that is between the Twin Towers.
Oh, that's
so,
right.
So they're stuck in this web, and the shot pulls back, and you see it's the World Trade Center. So they had to pull that. That teaser probably came out around July, and it was pulled obviously when the attacks happened, and it was never released again on DVDs or anything like that. But of course, you can see it on YouTube anytime you want.
I thought also the posters had him. The reflection of the city was on his eye.
Yeah,
on his mask.
I don't remember if you could see the Trade Center in the first poster, but that might have been the case.
That was a wave of weirdness for Hollywood because
yeah.
I remember also the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers was coming out, and people were a little, ooh, should it be called the Two Towers? Well, it's the name of the movie.
I know they got a little hypersensitive with that kind of stuff back then. And any movie that had sort of terroristic overtones was either squashed or. I remember the last Die Hard film was pushed and pushed and pushed because of that.
Okay, now
there we go. There he is in costume.
Is it ever? Did they just explain that it was his aunt who made the costume, or
no? His aunt didn't make the costume.
So are we led to believe that he just sits down and saws?
Hey, this guy's an artist. He can knit.
Good Lord!
You know, he'd make a great husband. This guy.
There you go.
Now, most of that on the left, that's I believe. Oh, I'm not sure. That could have been John Romita, one of the Spider-Man artists. I could be wrong though.
And it's funny because this is the same complaint I'm hearing about. Oh, this is Jim Norton. It's a comedian.
Yeah. You're gonna see Lucy Lawless soon. Xena.
She's got a cameo in this?
She does.
That's
she
her?
is. That's Lucy Lawless.
Oh my God. I wonder if this is anybody's important.
I don't think that's the naked cowboy.
No, it's not.
Think.
See, there you go.
There you
There
go.
it is.
There it
There
is.
it is.
Yeah, and it survived the film. Now here we have J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and if anyone was born to play this character, it was him.
What's with the girl in the man suit?
I don't know.
That's a little scary.
And isn't that Ted Raimi in the background?
Oh yeah, look at that.
That's Bill Nunn as Robbie Robertson.
It's almost like the Superman actor, the original Superman, his boss.
Jackie Cooper is Perry White.
He's got that delivery, that
rapid fire.
Yeah.
But I mean, the look, the
spiky hair,
everything. He is Jameson, and that was Elizabeth Banks as Betty Brant, who's become quite famous in the last 10 years. She's done so many TV shows and movies. Betty Brant, who was Jonah's secretary, also had a brief romantic relationship with Peter. A lot of location shooting here.
6th Avenue and I can't see it.
Does that say Avenue of the Americas?
No, I can't.
Is this downtown? I don't know.
I don't know. Are they still in Queens?
No, I think they're in Manhattan now. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's Manhattan. You're right. Too many cabs. Has to be Manhattan.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
There you go.
How'd you like to work for him?
I don't think so. Yeah, she's living a dream, all right, as a waitress.
She just flashed him. But she was dressed.
She's kind of fallen off the radar, Kirsten Dunst.
A lot of times they start showing up on TV shows.
Yes, I think that's where she's going next.
Well, at least she made it past this film and into the last film.
Yeah, no, she was in all three.
This film is full of these moments, these quiet, something might happen and nothing happens moments.
Yeah, they're very sort of will they or won't they up until the end of the second film. Now, Harry and Peter were roommates in the comic. That's also true. When they were in college. But there was no, in the comic, there was no real relationship between between Peter and Harry's father.
Oh. And
the Goblin found out Spider-Man's true identity, but he was the question was, well, okay, then he's going to kill his whole family, and how is it? But it just miraculously happened that every time the Goblin appeared, and
yeah, look at that green shirt, green building.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with this now.
I see you are.
I keep looking for.
I don't. Raimi's probably saying, "Carlos, I don't know what you're talking about. This is all in your head."
Green cup, green book. Come on.
But he would get amnesia after every fight, and he'd lose his memory and his identity would be safe again.
Maybe it's supposed to signify that he's the next one. That's why they put so much green on him.
If you know the comic, Harry becomes Harry is he's got it in his DNA. He's going to become a goblin. This is not Manhattan. This is the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank. Now, I know that there were a lot of stunt guys, but I think Maguire did a lot. I mean, not this, but he did a lot of action in the suit. And one of the things that they seem to do a lot of in the Marvel movies with Spider-Man, they'll show the guys without their masks, so you see the actor, so you see the actor's face. They did that a lot in Iron Man, just to show you the actor doing his thing, because it could then, if not, it could just as easily be a stuntman.
Mega crap. It's crap. Mega crap. Oh, good. They finally gave her a skirt to wear. It's like she stole somebody's suit.
You notice things that no one else notices. Elizabeth Banks, star of Zack and Miri Make a Porno, among other films.
What else? Her name sounds familiar.
Well, she was in that. She did. She just did a movie with Russell Crowe.
Oh.
Where she was in prison and she broke out.
Oh wow.
She's been in several movies, and she was on Scrubs as a recurring character. She was JD's girlfriend, the mother of his kid.
Okay. Are those your Cheerios I'm pissing on? Uh-oh, he's losing it.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there you go. That's the goblin right there.
I'm a nice guy. I'm crazy.
The World Unity Festival.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one way of getting bad news.
Now here we have
Heavy
Times Square
CGI.
with a heavy CGI.
Wow. Well, it's good because you can hide a lot behind the balloons.
Daily Bugle looks like the Post.
Oh, this was somebody famous,
Macy
right?
Gray.
Okay.
I saw this set, that canopy or whatever you call it.
Balcony?
The balcony. I walked on that set.
Where?
In the Sony lot.
Oh, okay.
I was also on a rooftop set that you'll see later in the film. And it's all, the only practical element is that
strip.
That strip. You're looking like a geisha there.
Jeez.
There you go.
Subtle,
Oh,
huh?
Rejected.
Don't you hate that move? I hate that move.
Tony does it to me all the time.
Can he see what's happening?
Peter?
Because he's like squinting up like, what's going on up there?
He's got his spider eyes.
Spidey senses? Uh-oh.
That's he knows Norman's coming.
He's like, oh my God, those burritos I had last night, they're coming up.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Now we see.
My God, talk about product placement.
Oh my God.
TDK, Noodle Rooney. I have a hat just like that.
Yeah, I bet you do. Here it comes. It's the Green Goblin.
Yay! Prudential, Samsung. Man,
Yeah.
everybody gets a piece of this movie.
Terminex.
Good Lord, everybody.
Palm. Remember Palm Pilot?
Oh my God.
And there you go.
Surprise.
Gonna have the Stan Lee cameo very shortly. There he is. Stan saves a little girl. What a guy.
That's a
shot.
Superman.
Yeah,
rip-off.
I love that though. You gotta have that. Yeah, that's real CGI.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so CGI too.
Yeah.
That's good. That's real.
Yeah.
Boink.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I watched this film, and you know, with the Blu-ray and everything, I get, you know, the seams do kind of show in the CGI.
This is why Transformers is so. Every edit lasts 1.5 seconds, and everything
yeah.
moves. This way you can hide everything.
And now we're talking in 2011 when we've just had the Rise of the Planet of the Apes come out, and I thought the CGI in that was absolutely phenomenal.
It's something we talked about before, and that is, we are now in an age where CGI is dated.
Oh yeah,
No,
CGI
you could
becomes
say
dated.
oh, this is so 80s, this is so 90s.
Yes,
and
but now do you think? I mean, are we talking photoreal now with not with humans? Not with humans, but I mean, what about
almost?
Not to get on too much of a tangent, but with Planet of the Apes, I mean, did you think? That
I
was
think
photoreal?
we're getting. I don't think we're ever going to get there.
No,
I think we're always getting better.
We're always
but
going
it's
to know.
never there.
We're always going to know.
It's a matter of when you decide to suspend belief.
Right. No, and I mean, with the Spider-Man films, definitely there are moments where it's just so obvious.
I mean, those skeletons we just saw were so.
Yeah.
They look like an early rendering of an effect.
Yes.
Now, can he control? He controls the thing with his mind, right?
The glider?
Yeah.
Yes.
So is that an attachment on the helmet, or he just does it?
I think it's part of the helmet.
Because the guy who was testing it out earlier had some kind of
Yeah.
contraption on his head. Prudential Samsung.
Suntory whiskey? That must be fake.
Maybe. The space for hire.
The Daily Bugle building, by the way, I should have mentioned, that was the Flatiron building.
Oh, that
Manhattan.
big corner,
Yeah,
that
that's the
angular
Flatiron.
building?
Yep.
That's St. Patrick's, right?
I believe so.
That's like a block away from where I work. Wait a minute, that is
Yeah.
where I work. That's on top of 30 Rock right there.
This is on top of 30 Rock?
Yeah, because 30 Rock's across the street from...
But do they have, like, gardens
there
and
must
stuff?
be some executive garden or something. I'm Batman.
Now, you can't tell me she doesn't recognize his voice? I mean,
I know,
that's
the voice is
Talk
really...
about suspending disbelief with superhero
Yeah,
films.
he's not pulling a bail.
A Batman. Michael Keaton did the same thing.
I'm Rob Zombie. What's your name?
Ooh, Harry's got a pretty good cell phone for 2002.
Oh, that was the joke that, like, by the time you get to 2020, like, the cell phone's like,
Yeah.
hello, hello, it's so small.
You'd have it in your ear. It would just be in your ear.
Implant.
Yeah, she's in love with Spider-Man now, Harry. You're done.
Go back to your daddy.
Yeah, you're finished.
Who's-
Your goose is cooked.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, she hung up on you, too. You're...
Just go frost your hair.
she didn't. She's not crazy about you. She rejected you before, and you didn't save her.
That's right. What's all that crap on his suit?
Blood. On the shirt.
On the lapel.
Yeah. I'd like to know where this building is. I think it's in Manhattan. That big. Yeah, now Norman is really gone.
Bunkers. But see, here's the thing. How he got nuts as a result of the experiment, or nuttier.
Nuttier.
But when it's his kid's turn, there is no.
It's when Harry turns
external.
It's revenge. It's pure and simple.
Right.
He hates Spider-Man. He thinks Spider-Man killed his father.
He has the tools.
He
doesn't have any.
He doesn't have the strength.
Well, because the strength is part of the experiment.
The formula.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that Harry did not inject himself with the formula.
It's funny. Is this a trick scene or is this not a trick scene?
I don't know. Like
it
that
almost,
guy. I don't think that. I think that's Defoe.
Yeah, it's Defoe.
Well, yeah,
but
yeah,
there's no change, right? No. Unless they're going to do a quick shot where one turns around and the other one doesn't.
Well, yeah, but you saw he turned around.
Yeah. This is just cuts, so okay.
But they were in the two shot together.
Yeah, but there was no difference in the chain. They were moving at the same time, so that worked. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you then take a shot like this, go back to the two shot, and it is two separate actors. Uh-huh. One moves, the other one stays steady.
Right.
Just to screw with you.
Speaking of daring roles, Defoe is going to be in John Carter of Mars next year as a completely CGI character.
Wow. Oh, there it is. There's the building.
Yeah.
Oh, they put the girl in the suit again. He pulled a Radar O'Reilly on him.
Yep. He's always got like Rolaids and antacids on his desk.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh! Oh!
There you go. Yeah, you can see Defoe's mouth.
Yeah. And I think that's on purpose.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That. Oh, there you go. When you're dealing with these costume characters, the CGI is also forgivable. This set, I was on this set, this rooftop. Yeah. He's quite the seamstress.
Again, you look at the costume, and I know this is the same argument happening now with the new one. The new one, they were saying, look at that costume. How could he possibly make that costume?
What kind of fabric is that?
I mean, it's not just fabric. It has this outer raised edging to it that it's like, see, look at that.
Mm-hmm. At least in the Fantastic Four, they had a scientific explanation for the uniforms. Pseudoscience.
Well, you need one because if you have a guy who stretches, he
goes on fire, and
you need some kind of excuse. This is a thing that it's used frequently. The bad guy offering the good guy to team up against everybody else.
Which is at the end of Captain America. The Red Skull says, "Why? What are you doing? We could just."
It's funny because she kind of takes a back roll a little bit in the middle. She's kind of like, okay, she's pursuing her acting and failing.
Right.
And he's busy, doing his thing.
Doing his thing.
Oh.
Come with us. Yeah, okay. Sounds great.
Yeah. I need a slide whistle.
That's what every guy wants to do. Be the fifth wheel. Now, see, she's kind of doing the come hither thing, and
she's presenting.
She's definitely presenting, and he's not taking the bait. As a matter of fact, she is really making it obvious.
Basically, she's saying, "Dance, monkey boy, dance."
And he's which you say to me.
You want the candy? You gotta dance.
Yep. Then he's not dancing.
You best.
Oh,
Good.
Here we go.
Good. Now it rains on you.
Now it's got the rain. Oh, we got the famous.
Oh, bad guys.
Another very famous scene is coming up.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Giddy up, baby. Hey, look, it's a Woody Woodpecker. Why is that all about? Why would they want to?
I never noticed that.
Why would they want to highlight that on a light?
I don't know if it really is Woody.
Looks like Woody Woodpecker.
Could be. Oh, she can take care of herself.
Oh.
But
let's see if we see that famous shot. Jesus, those. There we go.
Leave it to you to point that out.
Well, Blu-ray, baby.
I think it was obvious.
That's the reason why we have Blu-ray. Why isn't he putting his mask on?
Well, no, but this is again, Raimi's putting. You're seeing him without the mask on to show you that it is Maguire.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, why isn't he wearing the mask as a character?
Well, he didn't have time to put it on. I don't know.
Jeez, so Louise.
How she doesn't know it's him is ridiculous. How do you think we would look in that suit?
Oh, you're talking about the Spider-Man suit?
Spider-Man
I thought you meant her shirt.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking, again, my mind's somewhere else right now.
This is why I can never let my wife or my parents hear these commentaries. You ruined it. Look at that. This happens to me constantly.
All the time?
Yeah. Back in college.
I thought when you go to Manhattan every now and then.
Yeah, I don't
strangers
go to Manhattan.
hang from the ceiling.
And kiss me. I just rip the mask off. No, you're gonna put it back on.
She knows the movie's not over yet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the whole Lois Lane loves Superman and not Clark Kent thing. You know, the hero's competing with himself for the girl. Again, that happened to me constantly.
All the time.
Competing with myself.
Oh, I thought it was another word other than competing.
Yes.
Billy on fire. Come save the baby. Baby bathtub. Bathtub baby.
No bird baby.
No bird baby. See? The baby's in there. I told you.
Yep.
All right. Shut up.
There he comes.
Isn't it always like women screaming at her baby and it ends up being like a little cat?
Mm-hmm.
That's my baby.
That looks a little weird. The webbing looks a little
it looked
dodgy.
a little too shiny.
Now, I know you're not a comic book reader. Were you excited for this film to come out?
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I mean, again, the trailer was really good.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking forward to these things.
Even though you don't.
Unless when the reviews are horrendous.
Right.
But I saw it in the theater. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your monkey. Oh, no, it's a kid for a change.
God bless you, Spider-Man.
Or it's like, if it was you, it would be like your comic book collection.
Yes.
You have to save my comic book. My baby. He's in a box.
Well, you know what? When there was when I was about 10, my mother thought the house was going to go on fire because there were these sparks coming out of the outlet, and I literally got as many of my comics out of the house before the fire department came.
Oh, I forgot. Why is he going back in again? The other baby?
Because
they heard a sound.
Yeah, heard a scream. It's Norman.
I think we're setting up another Matrix-y effect. Ooh, ouch. Boink. Gobby?
He called him that in the comic.
This is cool. I like this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh! Oh, that's right. They come back. That's a Raimi.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll need is a chainsaw coming at you.
We're setting up the third act here now.
Oh, come on. You don't have to wear a green shirt. And they're cutting greens. Oh, no, here we go again. And there's a green chair and green plates. I'm losing it.
Oh, my God. And there's...
And the green couch.
Veggies. Green veggies.
Make it stop. What'd you call me? Green bowl. Green veggies. Green shirt. Oh, my God.
You need to relax.
I can't. Now I'm obsessed with the green. I don't think even the Hulk has so much green. Yes. Where is Peter? Why?
It's a nice loft.
Jeez.
Raimi likes to move his camera. That's a great shot.
Oh, that's right. Blip. Look, green shirt on the floor. Come on, guys.
I don't think that's subliminal if you see it everywhere.
No, he's doing it on purpose. He's not just randomly putting
But
colors.
we know the goblin's green. Okay, we get the point.
But he's beating you over the head with it.
Please.
My God, looks like a ketchup stain.
Durr. But I don't think that Norman...
Oh, come on. He's wearing a green shirt.
You need to chill.
Oh, God.
I don't think Norman really can possibly be aware that Peter is Spider-Man.
Well, he's looking around like...
Yeah, he's looking around
He
like...
smells it.
Yeah, he smells it.
Jesus, look at the side of that turkey.
That's a big turkey. Slap. Just for that, I'm going to disembowel you. Yeah, he comes after Aunt May later.
I'm going to use this knife.
There, okay, now Norman, that clues him in.
It says Norman was here.
Mm-hmm.
He's like drooling.
Yeah. He's like a vampire.
He's like, slowly I turn, step by step. I need to be excused. I have to pee. I gotta use the bathroom. There you go again with the fruitcake. Dad, why'd you call everybody a fruitcake? Oh. Nah, he's like, yeah, go ahead. What is that hanging on the wall there? A radio?
Whoa.
Words to live by.
Says a happily married man of...
What? You have no proof of that.
Tony has the papers. It's legal now.
Yeah.
Calling her Aunt May. She's not your aunt.
Aunt May's going to meet the back of his hand pretty soon if she doesn't be quiet. This is me getting ready to go to work every morning.
Well, you almost jumped the other day, right?
A lot of people thought it was me.
Yeah. This is it. You crawl and you beg. You beg the...
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
But in your case, it's like a Darth Vader mask, right? Or a Stormtrooper helmet. Yep. Aunt May's going to get hers. That color pattern is giving me a stroke.
Whoa. How did she not have a heart attack right there?
I know. That's a little ridiculous.
This is for that damn sweet potatoes you wouldn't let me
slap
touch.
my hand, bitch.
The sweet potatoes. I can't believe it was sweet potatoes.
No burn, baby.
Oh, no. I thought I saw something I didn't want to see.
It was getting close.
Oh, I'm getting sick. Give me another donut.
Yeah. He's coming after your loved ones. Every superhero has to worry about that.
Wasn't that thing hanging in the hallway we were just talking about?
No, they're in a hospital.
They misplaced the prop. Oops.
They have money. They don't need to.
Good Lord. He looks like an accountant on that
Like
picture.
a dweebus in that picture.
This is from Revenge of the Third Party.
Mm-hmm. Queen's General? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think that's a real.
No.
Thanks for bringing those crappy flowers.
Hey, what happened to that other shirt you were wearing?
He's not supposed to know about that shirt.
That's right. Damn it. Would you happen to own any shirts? You
want to walk in the rain?
Look, there's a sprinkler system here.
What? Spider-Man.
What? Uh-oh. Oh, no, she's waking up.
Listening.
Ugh. His name is the Hulk.
No. He said, wear that shirt again.
He said, whatever you want to do to him, do to Peter. That's what he said, I swear. That's a weird guy.
See, occasionally in the Spider-Man films, some of this crap gets a little on the corny side, but Maguire sells it. He's not bad.
But that's something about his acting, too. He does this thing on every role he plays where he goes into this mode.
Yeah.
This sensitive, staring at you,
yeah.
kind of like, all right, dude.
And he's not like...
Lay it on thick.
Yeah. I mean, even though he's not like Mr. Dreamboat or anything, you know, he gets... I know he's pulling me in right now.
I really don't want to be in this room with you right now.
I used to talk to you like this in college. You were like putty in my hands.
No wonder I failed so many times.
I told you about how great the Rocketeer was, and you just were like, whatever you say.
Whatever. Dude, no guy can come up with these lines.
I know.
Look at her. She's like, eh.
I think I know someone who can. You and I know someone who can.
All right. He who
shall not be named.
He who shall remain blocked.
The only problem is, yes, men can come up with these, but they usually don't like women.
Look who's here. Look who's here.
No.
He's wearing a green turtleneck. He's wearing a green shirt.
It's so funny the things that you pick up on. Look,
there's
a
green top. The house has a green top, and there's a green plants.
And, you know,
as opposed to the purple
plants. Look at the crazy green mask over there on the left. I never noticed that before.
Weird looking one.
Yeah. You're right about MJ. She doesn't like me.
Dad, where'd you get this great green shirt you got for me? I love it. Uh-oh. What?
We're gonna take him out.
I have to go now. But Dad,
I want to talk.
You just did this to me yesterday. I gotta go. Bye. Something's come up. I gotta go by.
We gotta go. Enjoy the fruitcake.
Here, have some more fruitcake.
See, now they have this little nice father-son moment that allows Harry to kind of love him and be pissed off when he dies.
For 2 minutes. Let's go get fruitcake. Whatever that means. She's back to her cheery old self.
Mm-hmm.
Except when he takes off his shirt.
I'm surprised they were allowed to even use the name. To say the word.
Wait a minute. That was from Phantom Menace, wasn't it? I heard that line before. I hate sand.
Let's not talk about that movie.
Are you an angel?
Oh. Yeah, George Lucas, he really knows how to do romance. Ugh.
Sand hurts. It hurts so much. Uh-oh. A fruitcake.
Time for a fruitcake.
That's the secret password for everything.
Peter can't afford a cell phone.
I like to make a collect call to... What? Does Raimi have a cameo anywhere?
No, he usually doesn't. It's usually the car and Bruce Campbell. And his brother.
His surrogates.
Yes.
Oh. If you reach this number.
Now, this is a great set piece. And again, like most of the, like most of the movies, the Marvel movies, they pick and choose things from certain storylines and kind of mash them together. He had a confrontation with the Goblin on a bridge, and that's when the Goblin killed Gwen Stacy, and he knocked her off the bridge, and Spider-Man saved her, but she was already dead. So this bears similarities to that scene.
Mm-hmm. There goes the tram.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, I don't even know what bridge is that supposed to be.
59th Street Bridge.
Oh, okay.
The tram takes people
Roosevelt
to Roosevelt Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be neat to be fixing. And it's at night, and it's full of Cub Scouts.
Yeah,
right?
of course. Isn't that always the way?
It was either that or nuns.
Nuns.
Boing.
Yes. Yeah, again, much better in the dark.
Yes, you can hide a lot. Batman. This is kind of Dark Knight-ish. Let's pick one.
Yep.
Ooh, pick me.
It gets a little ridiculous with the people cheering Spider-Man on, talking about you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, like all this New York bullshit.
That was more in the second one, I think.
No, they
did it here too.
Yeah, they do it here too.
Yeah, I remember that in the second one in the train.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on, dude. It might have been, but it might have been a post 9/11
Well,
thing.
especially in this one because it had just happened. But all it did was remind me of, like, Superman 2 when everybody starts, going after the villains.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's like, seriously?
Okay, go
seriously,
ahead.
you're going to do
it.
that. Yeah, you do that.
I'll be in the taxi leaving.
Yeah. I'll be in Jersey.
Bling, bling, bling. But I'll rip my dress.
She's wearing pajamas.
Ugh.
I know you're disappointed, right?
You can't recover from that, from the rain.
And bam.
Ooh. I wonder if they purposely removed a lot of the... Because before they showed them, I don't know if on purpose or not, we saw them in the eyes and there was a long shot of the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
But like we see some night shots now where you don't see the sky. See, you don't see it much.
No reflection.
I wonder if they downplayed it a little bit. Is that George C. Scott? Oh my God, I thought he died. Ugh.
Yeah, see, now the New Yorkers are going after the Goblin.
Take your freaking ass.
Okay, yeah, grown.
Jeez, Louise. There's George C. Scott.
Looks pretty good for a dead guy.
Pat-Man. Out.
Even though the CGI dates, I mean, it still does the job well enough.
Oh yeah.
To tell
it definitely
story.
works better at night.
Yeah. You see, now here we're gonna knock his mask off so we can kind of see him.
I remember the toys would have him ripped up
Yep.
so you could see part of him.
See, now this is also very reminiscent of the comic when the Goblin, they had their final battle. But Peter wanted to kill him because he had killed Gwen Stacy. He desperately wanted to kill him.
There was a different motivation.
Yeah.
Because this isn't even like a payback for Uncle Ben. This
No,
has
he
nothing
had
to
nothing
do
to do with
so.
Uncle Ben.
This is like a Bruce Campbell type of beating.
Yeah, he's taking a like we said before. Raimi loves to punish his actors.
Here's the Rocky moment.
The rage.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Where did you get that from?
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering that myself. And now it's gone.
Squish.
And of course, Peter has no idea up until this point that it's Norman.
He doesn't suspect, really?
He's shocked. In the comic, he knew Norman. It was Norman.
But when he's hiding in the apartment, it looks like he's hiding from Osborn.
Well, he's hiding from everybody. He doesn't want anybody to see him. And this is also how he was taken out in the comic by his glider.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. Meanwhile, in Phantasm.
I love that. That's Raimi.
Oh. Where did he get hit in the legs?
It's a little lower than it's somewhere in the...
Because there's two of them on the inside, so it's like pinned him in the leg.
Now, you see, this is when Peter listens to him, and that he could have avoided so many problems by, Harry, your dad was the Green Goblin. He tried to kill me. I didn't kill him.
But he keeps up this thing.
Yeah.
He keeps it up for such a long time.
Does. And now in the comic, the same thing happened. Harry thought that he killed his father, and he found all his father's gear, and he went and, he became the Goblin. Now, I think this cemetery is also in Queens. I'm not sure. I think so.
There's a cemetery they always use in films that has all the gravestones and it has the skyline behind it.
Yeah, this might be
It's shot from Queens.
Where is it? In the Bronx?
No, I think it's in Brooklyn.
Oh.
Or it could be Astoria, too. I mean, it could be right there because the skyline's right there. I mean, this could be...
Mm-hmm.
Like where I used to live, this could be Maspeth or Middle Village. This is like in a hill. Pardon me.
Everything sucks for him. And that that was always the truth in the comic. He won, but he never advanced himself. He was always getting screwed. He never got the girl. Aunt May was always sick, or something was always preventing him from getting the brass ring.
But that's usually
a
given.
More so than most heroes. He was always just getting the shaft. I mean, eventually, many years later, he finally married Mary Jane. But other than that, he was.
No, there's no skyline there. That's a different shot.
You know, this always happens to me too when these girls throw themselves at me and I reject them. You know, I just.
You could write a book.
I don't. You know.
Are you done talking? Can I walk away now?
I'll tell you though. You can laugh at me, but I found Spider-Man to be the most relatable hero because he was this nerdy guy. He wasn't like a
super scientist.
He wasn't like a rich millionaire or had these enormous. He was the nerd in high school. He had the tough life, and and he got the powers. You could not see yourself as him. Well, maybe you could see yourself as him. He was a teenager. He was the perfect superhero to like when you were going through all that stuff.
What? Well, I have a secret too.
I reject you.
How dare you? Uh-oh. I'm in love with your boss in the diner. He's so hot.
That guy.
He yells at me so good.
That guy.
He puts me in my place.
I'd love to know where he came from.
Oh my God.
You're right about the yellow teeth on the left. The first.
It looks like she got a little work on the front, but not in the back.
Look at that. Kirsten, if you're listening.
I can guarantee you now, she's got as white teeth as these napkins.
Can you imagine how these actors and actresses, or even like the people on the news, are so freaked out by high def?
Not only that, but I think what's happened, and I've heard people mention this before, is it's not so much that the teeth are not the perfect color, but when one actor shows up with bright white teeth, it makes them look like they have scurvy.
Right, exactly.
It offsets everybody else.
Yeah.
So then everybody else has to get it.
Right.
So to kind of match the one that has the bleached.
Blu-ray is an actor's nightmare. A guy actually rejected me. That's never happened to me before. What am I doing wrong?
What's this feeling I'm feeling right now? I don't get it.
I wore the shirt and everything. Comes great responsibility. Remember that, Carlos.
Unless they don't offer me enough money for the sequel, then they can all go straight to hell.
They can all drag me to hell. Yeah.
Bye.
I think I was in such a state of ecstasy at the end of this film that I just couldn't see straight.
The manager of the movie theater had to literally pick you up and take you outside.
I was asked to leave.
Put you on the street.
Yeah.
Get out of my theater.
I was like, you just made my life.
This is him getting rejected.
He's all excited.
He gets out the aggression.
And I'll see you in the sequel.
Yeah. Now, I know with the X-Men film, the trendy thing was to start throwing the extra scene.
Yes.
Did these ever have extra scenes?
The Spider-Man films never did. And actually, it was not until X-Men 3 where they did the extra scene at the end of the credits. Yeah. X-Men 3 had the little possibility that Professor X was still alive.
So was that the first comic book movie to have the extra scene?
Well, the first one, I think it was, because then Iron Man did it. Marvel didn't start. That didn't start happening until Iron Man.
Until they firmed up the whole Avengers.
Yeah, the whole Avengers thing. We're gonna, kind of keep alluding to an Avengers movie. Yeah. Now it's. I mean, now you have to stay with almost every genre movie now. You just gotta be sure.
Yeah.
Like with Planet of the Apes. I mean, they started rolling the credits, but you didn't have to wait long.
Right, they were right there. And even movies that are not necessarily genre movies. I remember, I think it was 18 had an extra scene at the end.
Yes.
That eventually showed up, obviously, in the movie. Now, here's something interesting about this film that I noticed in the beginning. Special effects by John Dykstra. Huge, huge Star Wars guy.
Yep.
That then broke away from Star Wars to do his own thing. Mm-hmm. But his name shows up every now and then on the effects side. Mm-hmm. Now, money-wise, was this a huge hit?
Oh, it was phenomenal. $403 million, I believe it grossed.
Jeez.
That's just U.S. gross. That's not worldwide.
And was this one of these films that they announced a sequel even before they...
Oh, I think that weekend. I mean, more, a good opening. But see, here's what I don't understand. Spider-Man, the reboot, just announced the date of the sequel.
But see, that's not unusual. When they have a good movie on their hands and they don't have to test it. They know they have it.
I guess so.
And they can announce it right away.
Marvel, after Iron Man hit, within a week, they had dates for Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, and the Avengers, which they eventually kind of tweaked, but they did. I mean,
Well, even Green Lantern, which is something that came out, did not do spectacular, but they already announced they're going to do it.
They're going to do it, yeah.
So it's like there's not real
Thor and the only
formula here.
I'm actually surprised they haven't announced a date for Captain America yet, the sequel. Because they have announced the sequel for Thor, and Cap is doing better than Thor.
Yes, definitely.
But I think they don't want to crowd the summer because they announced, for 2013, they announced Iron Man 3 and Thor 2. So I don't know if they want to crowd it and have Cap in there too. So I don't know. And also a lot of things depend on how the Avengers does.
Yeah, that has to be a hit.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to carry everything else. Yes. If that falls apart, the whole mountain falls apart.
Yeah. And another thing that we're seeing now is Marvel has pretty much exhausted their A-list. Now if you're gonna do original characters, you're in the B list. You're talking about Ant-Man, the Black Panther, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange. If you thought Iron Man wasn't a household name, these characters. At least Iron Man was an animated series, and
because Iron Man is not an A-lister.
No, so we're talking about the C list, but it's not. It's possible. Marvel now is owned by Disney. And Disney wants to exploit those properties like you would not believe. So I would not be surprised.
Well, the thing is also that now, because Disney's involved, they're going to position certain things away from each other.
Yes.
They might say, oh, we have a Marvel thing, but it's also going to compete against one of our Disney things. No, spread them apart. Right. Don't have them compete against each other. As a matter of fact, they just pulled the plug on
Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger, which is now a Disney property.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that.
I'm like,
oh, here we go. They're playing
the original.
I loved it. This was great. I was really happy they did this.
And before this, that's all we had really was the cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay, you have your comic book, fine. There was a cartoon that was cheesy 60s-ish, right?
There was a cartoon in the 60s and in the 80s. And you had the live-action television series that was on CBS.
Right. But that kind of was buried. They buried that. The cartoon kept showing up every now and then. So let me ask you something. As this thing is finishing right now, at the time, was this the best adaptation of a comic book?
Well, for me it was, but I think because I love the character so much, it was probably just as good as X-Men, but then X-Men 2 came out, and it was better than this, and then Spider-Man 2 came out and was better than this, and, but I was in heaven when this first came out, and I still love it.
Cool. Well, we can't wait at this rate to see what the reboot will be like.
Yes.
And we'll take it from there.
Yep.
Well, that about wraps it up for us. I would like to thank Steve for joining us on this Spider-Man Geek commentary. And on behalf of everybody, we hope to see you next time here on Geekfest Rants.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big hang-up. Wherever there's a hang-up, you'll find a Spider-Man.